I play video games to discover new and exciting ways to get humiliated by software. I wrote a tiny little aim helper because physics says I need reaction time and biology says I have the reflexes of a sedated sloth. Ah, boring science. So it worked perfectly for exactly 11 seconds. Then the game closed, my account got nuked, and I got a ban so aggressive it basically turned my PC into an RGB toaster. Anti-cheat didn't just catch me, it made sure I understood I've been caught. Here's the part nobody tells you. Modern anti-cheat isn't just a program running in the background. A lot of it lives in the Windows kernel. That's rank 0. The touches hardware layer. So today I'm going to explain in plain English what kernel-level anti-cheat can see that normal apps can't. Why old school cheats break in weird ways like memory reads returning zeros, and why even if you dodge the kernel checks, you can still lose to the most boring boss fight of all time. Statistics. Just a quick disclaimer. This is an explanation of defense, not a tutorial on cheating. Don't be that person. Think of your PC like an onion with layers. Rank 0 is the user mode. That's where your game lives. Your browser, Discord, Spotify. All the things that crash like fragile little flowers. On the other hand, rank 0 is kernel mode. That's the operating system's engine room. Drivers, memory management, and device access. If rank 3 is I would like to do a thing, rank 0 is I am the thing. So when someone says kernel level anti-cheat, what they mean is the anti-cheat has a component running in the same layer as the OS parts that decide what's allowed to exist. That means if they want to search your files while you're playing video game, they can. Taking a screenshot of your desktop, not a problem. Going through your browser history, better watch for that. And that's why it feels so unfair. So why kernel anti-cheat exists? In old days, a lot of cheating was just find game memory, read values, write values, and win. And the defense was mostly scan for known cheat programs, check game files, and detect weird modules. But attackers got better at hiding in user mode, so anti-cheat vendors moved downward into the kernel for one reason: visibility and control. In rank 0, anti-cheat can see lower level signals and block things before they look normal in the game. It's not magic, it's leverage. So let's see how anti-cheat catches you. Kernel-level anti-cheat and modern systems usually catch cheating through 3 buckets. The first bucket is about what's running on your machine. They look for suspicious processes, injected modules, unusual drivers, and known bad signatures. In general, weird stuff that shouldn't be there, and kernel-level components can see more of that picture because they're watching closer to the operating system itself. The second bucket is about what are you trying to touch. Even if the cheat is external, it still has to interact with the game somehow, like opening handles, reading memory, writing memory, hooking input systems, or attacking to the game process. Kernel anti-cheat can interfere with those interactions in ways that make your cheat fail silently. The third and the last bucket is about what are you doing in the match. This is the part people underestimate. Even if your code is invisible, your gameplay isn't. Servers can flag impossible reaction times, inhuman consistency, perfect recoil control, robotic aim passes, and input patterns that don't look like a person holding a mouse. So here's a classic moment. You write a normal user mode program and you go, "Hello, Mr. Operating System, may I please look at the memory where the enemy's head is located?" And the operating system hands you a page that says, That's not your program bugging out. That's anti-cheat making sure you don't get useful data. Because from the defender's perspective, this is ideal. You don't get the info you want, you don't necessarily get a dramatic error, and if you keep hammering the system 60 times a second, you start to look extremely normal and not suspicious at all, like a raccoon trying every door handle in a neighborhood. This is one reason kernel-level anti-cheat is so effective. It can shape what user mode is allowed to see. At this point, people go, fine, I'll just run my code in kernel. But Windows has a response to that. Driver signatures enforcement. Kernel drivers aren't supposed to be random programs. They're supposed to be trusted components, signed and verified. Because if you let anyone run anything in range 0, you don't have an operating system. You basically have a public park. And sure, there are dev modes, test signing, and legitimate reasons to load drivers. But in normal consumer environments, Windows is designed to make kernel code harder to casually drop in. This is part of why kernel anti-cheat is controversial. By the way, it needs deep access to do its job, and deep access increases consequences when something goes wrong, because high-privilege software has high blast radius. So what does kernel anti-cheat actually do? Kernel anti-cheat usually isn't one spooky demon living under your bed. It's typically a system, a kernel driver aka ring 0, a user mode service aka ring 3, and a server-side brain that correlates everything. At a high level, kernel components can observe low-level events like what loads, what attaches, and what's being requested. Enforce policy like block, restrict, or sandbag suspicious access, and feed telemetry apart for smarter decisions. And then the server side does what servers do best. It judges you quietly at a scale. Not just did we see a cheat, but does this account behave like a human across many matches with patterns that are statistically observed? This is why cheaters love "I didn't inject anything" arguments. The server does not care about your argument. The server cares about your numbers. Here's what's wild. Even if you somehow hide your code perfectly on the PC, you can still get caught by the way you move your mouse. In a second, I'll show you why that's the final boss anti-cheat keeps in its back pocket. The part everyone ignores. Behavior beats invisibility. Let's say, hypothetically, you bypass every local check. You don't look suspicious in the process list, you don't trip integrity checks, and your memory reads don't get you flagged. Now you load into a match, and your crosshair does this. A human aim pass has macro corrections, overshoot, hesitation, variability, and timing that's messy. Aimbot aim passes look like geometric homework. And once you're in bucket 3, the kernel doesn't even need to win. The math is the one who wins. You're not being detected as a program. You're being detected as not a person. So the twist is you can beat layers, but not nature. So yes, kernel-level anti-cheat is powerful because it plays closer to the OS. But the funniest part is this. Even if you outsmart the kernel layers, you still have to outsmart reality. And reality has a lot of data points. I spent an embarrassing amount of time learning how deep this rabbit hole goes, only to discover that the thing that nailed me wasn't some elite hacker duel in range 0, It was a server-side model going, nope, not human. I lost to statistics. The most humiliating sentence in the English language. So that's the kernel level anti-cheat. It watches lower than your game, it can block or distort suspicious access, and even if you slip past the local defenses, your in-game behavior can still rat you out. If you want a part 2, I can break down the legit side of this even further. What signals anti-cheat typically looks at, why kernel anti-cheat is such a security trade-off, and what false positives actually mean in practice. Subscribe if you want that, and tell me the game with the most aggressive anti-cheat you've personally dealt with in the comments below, because I'm going to play Minecraft offline.